Part 2. His professor said, "Be careful." He posted anyway. 3 days after my professor told me to be careful, I did the opposite. I went to my university's archive access portal, the one that gives students access to digitized government and financial records, and I typed in 2 words: Rockefeller, Federal Reserve. What came back wasn't shocking in a movie way. There were no flashing red alerts, no mysterious emails telling me to stop. It was quieter than that, and somehow that made it worse. Here's what I pieced together. Most people know the Federal Reserve as the government's bank, the place that sets interest rates, an independent institution accountable to Congress. What most people don't know, and what I genuinely did not know before this week, is that the Federal Reserve is not fully a government institution. It is, structurally, a hybrid. The 12 regional Federal Reserve banks, the ones that actually carry out monetary policy, are privately owned by member banks, and the largest member banks, JP Morgan Chase, Citibank, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase as of today, is the largest bank in the United States. It was formed in 2000 when Chase Manhattan Bank, David Rockefeller's bank, merged with JP Morgan and Company. The two most powerful names from Jekyll Island merged into one institution that is a primary shareholder of the Federal Reserve System. I want you to sit with that. But here's the document that broke my brain completely. In 1913, during the congressional debates over the Federal Reserve Act, a congressman named Charles Lindbergh Sr., father of the famous aviator, stood on the floor of the House and said the following: "I found the congressional record. It's public. It's archived." His actual words. He said that the act established the most gigantic trust on earth, and that when the president signed the bill, the invisible government of the monetary power would be legalized. A sitting United States congressman, 1913, on the record, said it was invisible government, said it was being legalized, and it passed anyway. Now here's where it gets personal for me. I started looking at the Council on Foreign Relations, the CFR, founded in 1921, headquartered in New York, membership by invitation only. Alumni include virtually every Secretary of State since the 1940s, dozens of CIA directors, Federal Reserve chairs, and presidents of the major networks and newspapers. David Rockefeller served as its chairman from 1970 to 1985. In his own memoir, published in 2002, a book called Memoirs that you can buy on Amazon right now, David Rockefeller wrote a passage that has been quoted extensively but somehow still shocks people every time they read it for themselves. He acknowledged that members of his family had been accused of working against the best interests of the United States, of conspiring with others to build a more integrated global political and economic structure, a one-world order, as some described it. And then he said he was proud of it. That if that was the charge, he stood guilty. I'm not paraphrasing a conspiracy blog. That is the man himself, in his own memoir, admitting it. So here's where I am now. I'm male 19. I owe $23,000 in student loans to a bank. I am being educated in a system shaped by Rockefeller money to enter a workforce monitored by institutions connected to Rockefeller-linked foundations and deposit my paycheck into a banking system whose central architecture was drafted by Rockefeller's grandfather's allies on a private island, in secret, in 1910. And the most chilling part? None of this is hidden. It's in congressional records, it's in published memoirs, it's in archived memos and academic footnotes and Senate testimonies. It's not hidden, it's just never assembled. Because why would the system that benefits from your ignorance ever teach you to connect these dots? My professor didn't tell me I was wrong. He told me to be careful. Maybe this post is me being the opposite of careful. But I think someone had to say it out loud.